Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge was released on the 11th of March 2016. The phone was £640 at the moment of the release, and this has been the highest price of a Galaxy yet. Starting with the core benefit, it's just like any phone that you can communicate in a lot of ways with the product, through calling, texting, and downloading apps that you can use to write to people. The actual product is the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. The phone has a dual curved back and naturally flowing lines, and this makes the phone feel very comfortable. The screen is larger than the S6, it's waterproof, and there is a microSD card slot. A big and important feature is the camera. It has professional features like low light, performance, dual pixel 12MP, etc. The battery of the phone is long lasting, letting you watch TV shows and listening to music for hours on end. The battery is also able to charge wirelessly. The augmented product consists of the 1-year warranty program Samsung uses, the online after service, the Samsung Store, and designated sales outlet. There are 3 kinds of consumers Samsung focuses on with regards to the Galaxy S7 Edge. The first consumer is the young digitalati. They are tech-savvy and live in fashionable neighborhoods. They are most likely to be highly educated and ethnically mixed, and their communities are typically filled with trendy apartments, condos, fitness clubs, and clothing boutiques, casual restaurants, and all types of bars, from juice to coffee to microbrew. The next consumer is the money and brains. This group seems to have it all: high income, advanced degree, and sophisticated taste to match their credentials. Many of them are married couple with children. The last group is the dreamers. They are a living example of how ethnically diverse every nation has become. In these multilingual neighborhoods, middle-aged immigrants and their children live in upper middle class comfort. When analyzing the market, you see a few interesting things. According to IDC, our market share is the highest at the moment, but it keeps fluctuating. At the moment, this is one of their biggest strengths, but Samsung needs to find ways to keep this market share. For competition, the phone industry is a highly competitive market. Entry barriers are really high. Not only the bigger companies like Samsung and Apple are dangerous, smaller companies are also rising. For example, Huawei. Huawei is trying to win market share based on the cheaper but same quality phone. The biggest competitor is Apple. Apple's market share is now about 10% lower, and Samsung have to keep it like that with continually innovating and giving their customers the best phone. Since there are so many competitors, the buyer's power are really high. Samsung's customer retention is really important in this highly competitive market. This is where Samsung can create opportunities and advantages to their competitors. Like an article in the Marketing Week said, consumers are slowing down their upgrades because there is a barrier developing to the new features in phone. Therefore, Samsung has to find a new way to break through this barrier.
Okay, so guys, welcome to this meeting. We're going to start with the timeline of the strategy, and then we'll go a bit more in depth to be ready for the next phone. So basically, we started the 31st of January 2016 with the first teaser released on YouTube. Then we went into the other social media and did a bit of teasing. It ended on the 21st of February with the official video presentation and the unveil of the phone. The 10th of March, we had the official unboxing video just before the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge was released on the 11th of March. Then in June 2017, we had the S7 Life Changer that was in Paris. The 20th of June, we started the first Olympic Game videos and the official campaign. Then we moved on a bit, like still in the same theme of the Olympic Games, depending on the countries. And in November 2016 was the Samsung S6 Blue Coral release, so we're trying to keep them in the mind that the phone is still here. And yeah, we're gonna focus today on the pre-launch period. As I said, it was more located in different countries for the Olympics, and it wouldn't be as interesting to study, so we really need to focus on the pre-launch and what worked and what didn't work, and we'll be ready for the next one. Okay, so let's focus a bit on the pre-launch period. So what we wanted to do is create attention on the 31st of January. Between the 31st and the 21st of February, the point was to create interest so that the consumer would want to know what product was coming out. And on the 21st was the phase of desire, so that the consumer would want to buy the product. We try to entertain it so that on the 11th of March they would want to go and actually buy the new Galaxy S7. So we're going to go into a more in-depth analysis of the pre-launch.
So we are going to present you a more in-depth analysis of Samsung different social media canals. So first of all, I will start with Twitter and Facebook. These canals are very known to allow consumers to express themselves and to comment and share content. And then Liane, we will present you Instagram and YouTube analysis. So Facebook has different assets as a social media. So first of all, it's like a hub of social network because you can have YouTube videos in it, Instagram picture, you can also rely tweets. So it kind of gives you all the trends in one page. Also in Facebook, you can use the 360-degree view for videos, which we did for this campaign. And also now we have to adapt our content to mobiles because consumers are more and more looking at Facebook with their phones. What I did to evaluate if our strategy was a success is that I looked at the first Facebook release on the 31st of January and I compared it with the last one before the product launch on the 10th of March in order to see if the number of likes increased and if it was shared more times. So actually it's quite a success because the number of likes and the times it was shared significantly increased. For example, for the first post it was shared 1,504 times and it went to 29,109 times. So this highlights that consumers got more and more engaged in the campaign, which is really good. Compared to the campaign that we did for Samsung Galaxy S6, I have to admit it's still a success, even though at the beginning of Samsung Galaxy S6, consumers were more engaged and we had much more likes. They didn't follow all the campaign and at the end the number of likes and shared had significantly decreased. So I think we did better this time because the purpose is to attract consumers and to increase their desire for the product. So to conclude, we can say that even though we didn't use all Facebook tools, like for example celebrities endorsement, our campaign on Facebook was still a success. Twitter is a very interesting tool because you can create hype thanks to it. So it's mostly thanks to retweet that consumers use and also hashtags. So some hashtags campaign became very famous and we used the campaign hashtag the next Galaxy for the pre-launch part, which is the hashtag we use to announce every Samsung, so it's getting quite famous for consumers.
And between all the hashtags and tweets, how did you manage to analyze the campaign impact?
Well, I compared the evolution of tweets between the campaign we did for Samsung Galaxy S6 and the last phone, Samsung Galaxy S7, and the result is that the number of tweets are decreasing and number of retweets are decreasing as well. So this might be because consumers are less and less on Twitter, especially young consumers. We can see that there is less engagement and maybe we will have to think about it and find a solution about this.
So I did analyze on YouTube and Instagram because they're both official channels, so that's why I did those two together. For Instagram, Instagram is mostly used as a platform for users to look for inspiring pictures and artistic pictures and to get new ideas. Instagram is quite recently also now open for business. So now you can have businesses can post suggested pages, even though you're not following that business, you can see it on the timeline. And Instagram is also used to send messages to businesses, and this way you can get high awareness in a very short amount of time. So what we did on Instagram was mostly using the hashtag #TheNextGalaxy in every single post we used. The 1st of February was the first post, and throughout the release we used the hashtag every time. So Instagram is, as I said, used as a photographic platform to inspire and to get ideas, but we did not really make use of Instagram as how it's supposed to be used. We just posted pictures of the phone and not in an artistic way. So compared to the S6, we did get people to engage a lot more. For example, on the 3rd of February, where the teaser for the S6 came out, we had 176,000 followers. And on the same date, so the teaser date, on the 1st of February for the S7, we had 2 million followers. So that's a really big increase. So we did get people to engage more. But for the S6, we were more into getting people to actually go buy the phone. They actually, because we had in the post we really said go grab the S6, and we didn't do that for the S7, and you also see that in the numbers. For example, between unveil and release there was a really big decrease for the S7, but there wasn't for the S6. So at that point people engaged more in the S6. So for the YouTube part, YouTube is a very big and popular platform, as we all know. It, according to eConsultancy, it outperforms Facebook, Pinterest and Twitter for user attention and retention. Also, YouTube is used as supporting channels for other platforms like Facebook, because you can post YouTube videos on Facebook. Also on YouTube itself, you have a recommended list of videos you can watch. So if you watched a video of us, a Samsung, once, you can see other recommended videos. And also if you use keywords that are linked to our phone, then you will, like for example waterproof, you can find the videos on the phone. We as Samsung did only 10 videos in total for the product for the S7, and 4 of them were published before review.
So how did you do the analysis as we took off every video of the Samsung S6 off of the channel?
Well, yeah, we couldn't compare those, but what we did for the analysis was comparing the first video of the S7 compared to the last video in the pre-launch period, and we found that people were less engaged. They did view more, so the last video was viewed a little bit more than 4 million times, and the first video was viewed a little bit more than 3 million times, but people engaged less in comments and in likes. Even though engagement took off during pre-release, we did see that the introduction, the official introduction video on YouTube was the most popular video of the pre-release videos, and that way you can see that customers were still reminded of the Samsung coming out, and they were aware of the Samsung coming out.
Hey, how are you? Is the report done?
Yeah, I'm just finishing the recommendation parts now, and then it's done.
Ah, great.
Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge recommendations for the digital marketing strategy. We divided this part into two sections. First, global recommendations. Second, recommendations per channel. Global recommendations. We suggest to use celebrity endorsement in social media. Studies highlighted the fact that it improves consumers' product involvement. We also suggest to have a post on the release date, like the company did for Samsung Galaxy S6 with the post Grab Galaxy S6. It might help us implement the action part of the AIDA strategy, as it is a last reminder for consumers to get their phones. Second, recommendations per channel. Instagram. We could make the most of Instagram by using our phones to take beautiful artistic pictures and then add them on Instagram in order to promote the abilities of our cameras instead of just putting pictures of the phone and the ad campaign. Twitter. We could increase our use of Periscope, for example, to film the official phone introduction on live, as it is a channel very famous for the 15 to 20 years old. There is no need to do as much tweets as we do now, as Twitter is less popular by our target consumers. We could use Twitter more as a newsfeed than as a promoting channel. As Twitter is less used, it might be better to use it as an informational tool with updates about the phone instead of putting only advertising headlines. YouTube. We could use an IT vlogger to promote our phone. People go on YouTube mostly for YouTube bloggers, so it might be a good way to catch young consumers' attention. Facebook. As we said before, we have sufficient consumer engagement on Facebook, therefore current Facebook strategy is suitable.